I will jump in now. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your interest in Culture Moves Europe. We're happy to see all of you here, and we're happy to present the project and hopefully give you insights on the mobility offer we present. Let me start by presenting what Culture Moves Europe is. It is a project funded by the European Union and implemented by the Goethe Institute, Brussels. Provides mobility grants for artists and cultural professionals in all 40 Creative Europe countries. And as my colleague mentioned, we have two action lines. One is individual mobility and the other is residencies. The focus today will be on residencies. However, we'll still give you a brief overview of individual mobility action as well. The grant aims at contributing to travel and subsistence costs and offers additional top-ups based on the grantee's individual situation. Also, we seek to encourage green mobility, so we have specific measures that try to foster the green aspect of mobility of artists and cultural professionals. So Culture Moves Europe covers all cultural and creative sector of the Creative Europe cultural strand. You can find on the slide the sectors that are eligible to receive funding from Culture Moves Europe. There are as follows: architecture, cultural heritage, design and fashion design, literary translation, music, performing arts, and visual arts. Culture Moves Europe, as I mentioned earlier, has two actions. The first is the individual mobility action, where we aim at providing 6,000 grants. It is targeted for artists and cultural professionals who want to carry out a project individually or as a group with a partner of their choice in another Creative Europe country. The individual mobility action has been launched in October, and please note that we have, for the first call, the last deadline is this month, so the end of May, the 31st of May. So if interested, now maybe is the time if you want to apply for this call, and the following call will start in autumn. As for residency action, which will be the main focus of our presentation today, it aims at providing support for mobility for 1,000 artists and cultural professionals. It is targeted for legal entities who want to host a residency with artists or cultural professionals residing in another Creative Europe country. And by legal entities, what we mean is nonprofit organizations, NGOs, public bodies, foundation, companies, self-employed persons, etc. Its launch has been on March 2023, and the call is currently ongoing. So here is the list of Creative Europe countries. As we said, it's 40 countries that are not only EU countries, but also other partner countries. Here is the exhaustive list. I will not go through it in detail, but you can also find this information on our website as well as on the call document. We also have what we refer to as overseas countries and territories and outmost regions. These are the Creative Europe regions that you can travel to and for which we provide additional top-ups. As said earlier, the individual mobility action call has been open from 10th of October and will close on 31st of May. So now is the deadline to apply for this call. The last question time was last Friday, so now we are not able to provide additional question time for this call. However, you can find all information on the website, on the call document, but we also have a published video of Lolly and my colleagues presenting an overview of the project. So in case of questions like inquiries or interest, feel free to watch that video, which gives lots of detailed information. Otherwise, you can always contact us at culturemoves@goethe.de, and we're always available to provide feedback. If now is not the time to apply, but you're still interested in individual mobility, the second call will start from October 2nd, 2023 to 31st of May, 2024. And third call will be from autumn to winter 2024. So there will also be more opportunities to apply. This is not the last one. And we will also get back to the question time in autumn if you're interested over the long run. As for the residency host action, the call has been open for March 15 and will be open to June 2023. Then there'll be a second call from October 2023 to January 2024, third call in spring 2024, and a fourth one in autumn 2024. Now I'll leave the floor for my colleague Lolly, who will give you additional details on.
Thank you, Salma. So exactly, the main difference between the individual mobility is that individual mobility are rolling calls, so they are open all the time and artists can apply anytime. But for residency, and this is the main important point for you, is that they are open calls. It means they open, you apply, and then it closes, it goes to the next stage until the next call is opens for applications. So basically for the residency host actions, there are two phases. The first phase is the one that is currently open until the 15th of June. And it works a bit like after the call closes, it goes to the evaluation process. If it's positive, and then if you are selected in the first phase, then it goes to the phase 2. Otherwise, you can also go to a reserve list that will be open until the 15th of November, but I explain a bit more about this later. And of course, if this time the response is negative, you can always apply in any of the other calls that will open up to 4. So yes, in the first phase, the call for residency hosts, you will need to submit your residency project proposal through an application form online via the Goethe Institute portal. And then in this phase is where you will need to explain the specific concept, objectives, and overall planning of the project that will go to the evaluation. Then if the project is selected, as I said, it will enter phase 2. The eligibility criteria for hosts. So first of all, the host must be a legal entity, and it can be any of these non-profit organization, NGO, public body, company, self-employed person as well. So we really want to open the floor to self-employed person. The important is that you provide a proof of this legal entity when you apply. Then, of course, it's very important that this legal entity is registered and based in the same Creative Europe country. So first of all, out of the Creative Europe countries is not possible, but also it needs to be registered and based in the same. And this country is where the project will take place. Then the sector is one of the sectors that my colleague mentioned before. These are the eligible ones. From now, I will say as well that audiovisual is not an eligible sector for the projects. This is because of the audiovisual sector is not part of the culture strand of the Creative Europe program of the Commission. However, the project, we always say this, if it has audiovisual components, it is okay as long as it is not the main objective of this project. Then this legal entity must have the capacity to implement residency projects, so have facilities, provide services and support from a mentor that works for the legal entity and have the staff for it. And of course, it's only one application per legal entity for this call. So the same legal entity cannot apply twice for the same call. The application must be in English, but we always say, please don't freak out with this. It is okay if the English is not proficient. You can help yourself with translation tools, or I don't know, a friend that can help you out with the English language. It is not evaluated, so don't worry about this. And then, yes, the residency project must take place after the signature of the grant agreement. So if you are selected and then you go to phase 2, after you provide everything we ask for in phase 2, our team will contact you and send you a grant agreement. And from the day of the signature of these grant agreements, you will have 1 year to implement your residency projects. So the basic rules are the duration in the first place. You can choose between short term, medium term, and long term. The number of days for each, as you can see on the screen, so 22 to 60 days for the short term, 61 to 120 days for the medium term, and then from 121 to 300 days for long-term residencies. Then, as I mentioned earlier as well, it must take place in a single location. That will be the Creative Europe country where the legal entity is registered and based. The applicant can choose up to 5 participants to invite them for the residency project, and they can come from different countries, always Creative Europe country, and sectors. They must do the residency simultaneously. What does this mean? This means that all of the participants must choose the same days and stay and do the residency for the same number of days and that they overlap. So same duration and same dates. And they must stay on site 70% of their time minimum. As I mentioned as well, the implementation starts after the grant agreement is signed and must finish as well within 1 year from the date of the signature, and it must be uninterrupted. So if you apply for 300 days, then you need to implement the residency all these 300 days at once and not splits in different moments. So the moment that you apply, you will be asked to choose one main objective for your residency projects, and it can be to explore, to create, to learn, to connect. These are the same objectives as well that are asked for the individual mobility action, but the residency action adds one more, which is to transform, and is to contribute to the societal change in line with the new European Bauhaus values and principle. In the call, you can read all the specificities for this objective as well. And yes, you will be asked to choose one of these objectives. Then the host will need to provide accommodation in their premises or outside of it during the residency, a good working environment, like the necessary equipment and all the stuff necessary for this residency, and a mentor that will be the person in charge to provide feedback and guide all the participants when they arrive. Oops. It is also mandatory to assign a host coordinator that will be the person in contact with us, the Culture Moves Europe team, and a legal representative that will be the person responsible for signing all the official documents and be legally liable towards the European Commission and the Goethe Institute. But the mentor, the hosting, and the legal coordinator representative can be the same person as well. So beforehand, before applying, it's always good to know which will be the selection criteria and which aspects will our experts look into. So these are the questions that our experts will ask themselves when going through an application. So first of all, premises and services. Does the host provide appropriate premises and services to the participants? In the selection process of the participants are explained and justified in the application. So are all of these well prepared and planned? Does the host provide mentorship and collaborative environment to the participants? Is the residency project relevant to the applicant's work and activities as well as Culture Moves Europe objectives? So if you chose one objective, they will look that you are explaining and this objective makes sense with the project that you are explaining in your application. And then also, does the residency project have a long-term impact and benefits? And what sustainable aspects and to the environment does the project take into consideration as well? It doesn't mean that if an artist takes the plane, you will have less points. It's not this at all. It looks more into the effort put by the applicant into including some sustainable aspects in the project, in the residency project. Then, yes, so where to apply? In the Goethe application portal, you will need to create an account there, and very important that you register as organization or enterprise if you want to apply for the residency host action. You will be required already to upload some documents, proof documents, so the proof of registration in a Creative Europe country, a portfolio with the relevant experience. So if you are a new legal entity and don't have a portfolio yet, you can also upload a letter of intention with the future plans for your entity, and also a CV of the mentor. So you will have this application form with different questions and options, and at the end of it, you will be requested to upload all of these documents. Then after the application, which again, I remind, closes on the 15th of June, there will be an eligibility process of the applications. Then there will be the evaluation process of all of your applications. And only then we will contact the selected applicants with the notifications. This will be at the end of July. The notifications for the positive ones will be sent. And then to these positive ones, as I explained before, they will be the ones going to the phase 2. This is the phase where the host selects the participants that will take place in the residency. This is the phase where you will need to provide us with the personal details, itineraries, and precise dates of the residency of all the participants in what we call a residency info card. Then based on this, once we check that all of these details of the participants are correct, then the grant will be calculated and the grant agreement prepared and sent to you. So exactly, so until phase 2, the applicant host doesn't need to know or say who will be these artists invited to their facilities. The selection of participants can be done through an open call from your side, or you can also nominate directly or send direct invitations. In any case, in the application, you will be asked to explain which selection criteria you are following to choose your participants. Culture Moves Europe to also help out to the applicants to find some participants, and also to participants to find some hosts where they can go. In September 2023, our team will organize some matchmaking sessions where you can assist and maybe find some participants that will suit your projects. The eligibility criteria for these participants will be they need to be over 18 years old. They also need to be a legal residence in a Creative Europe country, regardless of nationality. We only look at the legal residence in one of these Creative Europe country. And then also be active in one of the eligible sectors. So the residency grant is composed of 3 parts. The hosting costs allocated to the host, in this case, the applicant of the Culture Moves Europe grants, then a mobility grant and top-ups that will be allocated to each participant. The host will receive the full amount of the residency grants, and it will be the one responsible for distributing the amounts to each participant. The hosting costs are €35 per participant and per day, and it helps the host to contribute to the accommodation of the participants, the mentor fees, the renting equipment. And then for each participant, they will get a daily allowance or €25 to contribute to their daily expensive during the residency projects, and also a travel allowance to get to the facilities of the host. That will be depending on the distance. If they are traveling less than 600 kilometers, they will not be allowed to travel by plane, except for very exceptional cases that will need to be discussed with our team first, and they will be allocated 350 euro. Then if the participants are traveling between 600 and 5,000 kilometers, they will still get 350 euro and get also the opportunity to choose between airplane or green travel. In this case, they will get an extra amount that I will explain later in the top-ups. And if the participants are traveling more than 5,000 kilometers, then they will get 700 euros of fixed amounts. Then, as a measure of inclusion, depending on each participant's personal situation, we also offer some top-ups. We offer a visa top-up of 80 euro for people who will need visa to get to the residency place. Then also a family top-up of 100 euro for applicants who have children below 10 years old and regardless of the amount. So if you have one child or 3 children, the family top-up will still be 100 euro. Then also for people traveling or to overseas countries and territories or outermost regions, we offer a top-up of 150 euro. And if you travel beyond 600 kilometers and choose to do it green, then you will get an extra 350 euro for it. We also offer a disability support for people whose disabilities affect their ability to carry out the mobility project. And this will be up to 75 euro per day and per participant, depending on their needs. For this, the Culture Moves Europe team will contact the participant to ask for these extra needs. Then, once you have passed phase 1, you will be requested to provide us with a residency info card, all the information about these participants and travel itinerary. So the residency info card deadline will be the 15th of October. So you will have until this day to provide all the information. So you will need to provide the exact dates and duration, and changes are only possible in very limited and justified situations. So be aware that once you choose the number of days and the exact days, you will not be able to change them anymore, again, unless it is a force majeure situation or very justified. Then also the details of each participant, for which we will ask for the proof of legal residence in a Creative Europe country, the final travel itinerary that you will be able to select in the application form, and then all the needs for top-ups as well. So once the information has been submitted and validated by us, by our team, then the grant agreement will be prepared and sent to you. Okay, you know how much it will be, but not when you will get it. So basically 60% of the hosting costs and mobility grants, and also the totality of the disability support, if applicable, will be sent to you after the signature of the grant agreement. And then once the residency has taken place and you have submitted us an activity report that is validated by us with all the necessary proofs for top-ups, then you will receive the 40% of the hosting costs and mobility grants and all the top-ups after this activity report has been sent. You will receive the link to the activity report once your residency project has ended, and it is an online form as well as the application form. So it's not that you need to write or report yourselves or anything. It's just like a very quick online form. So the calendars are very important as well to know when each part of the cycle is happening. And this is also important for you to know when you can expect results or news from our side. So Again, the first call for residency host action closes on the 15th of June. Then there will be an eligibility check to see that the applications are correct and all the information is eligible. That will last up to 2 weeks after this deadline. Then there will be the evaluation phase where our experts will go through all the applications and put a score, and also a jury phase that confirms the selected list of applicants. Only then the results will be notified to you, and this will be more or less, you can expect these results by the last week of July 2023. Then, if it's positive, you go to phase 2. If it's negative, we always encourage applicants to apply to the next call. And honestly, there are 4 chances. So we always encourage to do it. Also, because if you get it one time, you can apply again. And then, or you can go to the reserve list that will be open until the 15th of November. Then, if you are selected, we will ask for the submission of the residency info card from the 1st of August until the 15th of October 2023. And from now on, if you happen to be selected, we really encourage you to submit this info card as soon as possible, since this will mean the sooner you submit the info card and get your grant agreement, the sooner you can start your residency project. Yes, then it will be validated by us, and then you can expect to start your residency mid-September 2023 or later, depending on how soon you send your residency info card. So the residency guide is, yes, it's a guide that we are working on at the moment and will be very soon available on our websites. It's basically, yes, a helping guide for hosts that will have more information about the grant agreement, the implications of changes in the project and under which situations a project can be changed, the payment process, distribution of the residency grant to each participant, and publicity and communication. So this guide will give detailed information about all of this, but yet you can find all of this information on the call that is very detailed and will have most of the answers to your questions. Then from now on, please know that our team cannot help you write and submit an application. This will not be fair for other applicants, but if you want to know some tips on how your application can be a nice one, successful one, then first of all, read the call carefully. This is the best advice ever. Really, the call has all the information. Then be sure that you meet all the eligibility criteria. If you don't meet the eligibility criteria now, don't worry, because you have 4 calls. So make sure that before applying, you are eligible for it. Then when writing an application, go straight to the point. If the question is asking, what is your project about? Don't go about past projects or future, just explain the project you are applying for, go to the point. Then check that all the documents are correct and uploaded in the right place of the application. And why not? If you have colleagues, fellow artists, friends, family that can read your application and give you some feedback, this is always very useful. Of course, if you need more information now, we are here now for this. Now the floor will be open for you to ask us your questions. But if you still have more questions or you forgot about it now and you remember it later, you can always go to the FAQ section of our website. You can also contact our team on social media, where you will find all or main of the information already and all the latest updates. So yeah, take your phone, follow us right now on social media everywhere. Then we also host info sessions for the residency action. The last info session for this call is this Friday. So you can also join us there. And to join us, you just need to sign up in our type form that it's also available in social media. Of course, our amazing colleagues from the Creative Europe desk will always be super happy to help you and answer your questions. But as well, you can contact us via the Goethe application portal, inbox if you already have an account, or directly to culturemoveseurope.residency@goethe.de. So this is the generic email address, but as of now, we have a residency email address. I will send it to the colleagues of the Creative Europe desk after the presentation, and they can facilitate it to you.